No, it's always the two of us. It's more fun that way. Come on, woman. Come on, baby. It's kind of fun. Come on, this is Saturday. Let's go talk. You support the arts. Max, come here. Take Bowie around the circle. Short leash.
Short leash it, Max. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for doing this, guys. Appreciate it. I'm Gannon, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Gannon. Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Brian.
Brian. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Oh, and I'm Rachael, and he's, yeah. And he's BRY. And
Very special. All right. Excellent.
No, let's not call. Like, can we just? All right, we're ready to roll.
Sure. Okay. So, what would you guys say is like a motivating belief? Do you share one, or do you guys both have one each to yourself, or? It doesn't have to be religion. It could be any like karma, or maybe you believe in ghosts that are watching you.
A motivating belief.
Yeah.
My motivational belief is what goes around comes around in many ways. So if you should treat others as you would like to be treated yourself. So for me, whether somebody returns a smile or an acknowledgement that I might have given them, it still makes me feel as if I put myself out there, and that others kind of more or less know that there's somebody that cares, even if it's for a few seconds, few minutes.
Yeah, I would carbon copy that, and I would say, treat every moment, as if it might be your last.
Okay.
So,
Cool. So yours sounds a bit more like karma. Is that reasonable to say, or
no?
Is that not
Karma
quite
is
it?
actually a misconception that a lot of folks have as to what karma is. I was trained to be a yoga teacher at one point.
Okay.
So karma is one of these things. For instance, look at it like you have a backpack, and you have a certain amount of rocks in your backpack. And when you've done things to others that aren't necessarily the greatest, kind of output that you could put in there, that weight is removed. And the goal is when you pass on to your other life that you have a backpack that's full, not a backpack that's empty, or vice versa. So if you believe that you're actually giving, so you're giving that weight, then if it's empty, then you have more of like a passage into the next stage. So karma isn't really do unto others as you would have, well, I did this and then I got this response back. It's actually kind of a sequence of events that can take place that you're judged for at the very end. Does that make sense?
it does.
That maybe you'd say the same thing about your beliefs?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I think it, again, I'm not going to go into, a dissertation, but I do, might be a little tripe, but, it comes around, goes around. So,
So
try and do unto others as they.
Yeah, so if you look at karma from a spirituality perspective, and if you're going to go into, I don't know if you believe in, you have another life, you have this one, you have that one. If you don't spend your life that you currently have in a place where you're doing good unto others, and you keep your kind of karma weight, that translates into you having your next life is not that good of one. So if I wasn't a good person today, then I come back something that is a few notches down from where I am right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here.
All right.
No, but that was one heck of a first question. So the next question would be, what is our favorite flavor of ice cream? And I'm going to be mint chip. And she's going to be cherry.
I don't think she likes that one.
No,
I'm the only one on earth that doesn't like mint chip ice cream, I think.
All right. So what would you say what kind of confidence value would you place on this belief being true and real?
On karma or on do unto others as you would have done to yourself?
It's sort of both, because it seems like you're kind of like a mix between both of those ideas, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Oh, wait. No.
Would you say like 100% all confidence, no doubt, 0% all doubt, no confidence, or maybe somewhere in the middle?
I respect others' spirituality and their belief system as well, and I'm open to hearing that, and I'm not a person that thinks that 100% I'm right and you're wrong. So I would take it with a balance, and I would also want to be able to have conversations with others to be able to formulate kind of a quantitative and qualitative kind of element to it. For me, I would say that I have a deep believing in you get back what you put out. And by deep believing, I would say that's 100%. Ryan?
I would say 80-20.
So like 80% confidence that it's true, 20% doubts, just that little bit, so that you could learn maybe something that could dissuade you for that being the case. Okay.
Yes.
So then for you it would be 100%, like there's nothing that you could discover or learn that would change your mind?
Well, no, that's kind of what I was alluding to before, which is if I were left to my own kind of thought process, then yeah, I would say that would be definitely it. But if I were to kind of do what you're doing right now, which is to have different experiences and talk to different folks, that can change your perception based off of their stories, their past, all sorts of different things. So, okay, back to that, would it be, if I were to look at others, it could be 50-50, you know, being open-minded to what they say. If somebody were to ask me that question, do you fully believe that, I would say yes, but I can play kind of black and white or devil and angel at the same time too. So I don't know, I think I'm pretty wishy-washy. Maybe it's because I'm tired.
You know, there's no right or wrong answer here.
So what method would you say that you used to discover that this was the truth, or that this is the case?
Do unto others as you would have done to yourself?
Yeah. Like if you had to propose a method of investigation or discovery that you could use to reach this conclusion, like what would you
I think
say
it's something that you can only experience throughout time and just watching things kind of take place. Again, it's difficult, which is, are you manifesting certain things? Have you placed yourself in certain situations? What are those? But I would say most of the time, okay, let's say I was 12 years old and I stole a lipstick. Probably about 6 weeks later, I've lost something that's of importance to me, and I sit here and I think, I stole that lipstick. Like, again, it kind of comes back around where you learn lessons. So I don't know, I feel that it also depends on how insightful you are and your ability to be able to look inside and kind of start to tie things together, and being aware of your actions again and how others might interpret that versus how you're interpreting theirs. Yeah? No?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I would say, getting burned, and having people go against, what you believe, and getting burned in a really bad way, that will absolutely help you, practice your belief, because you may have been, slacking and falling behind, and maybe not, dogmatically, following this, method of, treating people as the way you want to be treated, because that's an easy thing to say, and it's kind of cliche, it's like we've all, but until you've been burned by that, and people, have, really, treated you in a way that you would never do to someone else, that, that to me, is a big way.
Well, I guess it defines also, it's what you look at from what is character defined by. And the other thing is it was an interesting story that I heard once from an actress, and she had a role, and it was about her being homeless. And she said one of the most demoralizing things wasn't, sitting out on the curb or not having anything to eat or being dirty. It was the fact that nobody bothered to look her in the eye at all, ever. And she felt that was the greatest disconnect. So for me, whether or not I can give 25 cents or whether or not I think what they're asking for is a load of BS because he might be an addict or this or that, I still feel that there's a common decency of being able to look at somebody. Like right now I feel bad because I have my sunglasses on and I just realized that. But of being able to look somebody in the eye and acknowledge them, because at the end of the day we're all human. Or if I go into a store, I try and look at a name tag and make sure that I refer to them by a name, so that, again, that there's this connectivity versus there's a service and a transaction and a this and a that. It's more or less kind of, there's a connection briefly and another human dealing with another human, and how do you honor that?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So you'd say like maybe personal experience is the way that you reach that conclusion. Like that's the only, you can't learn that in a textbook. You can't figure that out through some methodology other than personally experiencing.
I think, you can go through, like, let's say you're a philosophy major. So suddenly, okay, epiphany, this makes sense. But a lot of times things make sense at different times in your life. Let's say you just experienced a loss of a family member. Your perception and the way you take things in might be altered from what you were 2 years before. Or as we mature through time, there's a different value system.
There's book smart and street smart and
spiritual,
spiritual
kind of
smart.
filling all those. I think intuition is a big kind of element, the sixth sense kind of propriety thing, and I don't know, it's all of it kind of combined, and then again, how you want to mold that into your output. But again, you could take a ton of philosophy courses, you could take this, you could take that, go and spend a night in the ER. That's going to change your mind about a few things too. So I personally do believe that it's a diverse kind of life experience and background, and again, we can change that on a dime. You don't know when, and then you might bounce back or you might move forward, but again, I think it's part of us developing as humans.
But I think it's important that you learn, you've got like, heart, solid, foundation, before you go out into the jaded world. And, whether that's, through school or your parents or your family, like that, spine, that you form is going to,
your value system.
Yeah, it's going to shape how you, react to things. And, it's like you're going to get burned out there in some way, shape, or form. But, you can't control the world, but you can
control your reaction.
Yes, thank you. Control how you react to it. So, anyway, these are kind of cool. These little fuzzy things.
The raccoon microphones.
So, would you say then, what would you say is the difference between like your opinion or your perception of something and the fact or the truth about something? Do you think there's a primary difference between those two things?
Your opinion or perception versus the fact?
Yeah, or like something that's true. Would you say it's true regardless of opinion or perception?
Use an example, if you could.
So, let's say I tell you that I own a Ferrari. Would you automatically believe me because I said it?
I would ask what year, what type.
So then you would want a bit more than just the claim, right? You'd want like some evidence, right?
Well, I'd be interested in it. So if you threw that out there, I would say, I love Ferraris too. What year? And if you're like, 62, I'd say, wow, bitchin'. Okay, what color? Have you had problems with it? Because I would be interested in what you had to say. I would want to engage with you. I wouldn't necessarily look at you right then and be like, that guy's a liar. He's sitting under a palm tree. No, you could have a Ferrari. Actually, you could have $1 billion in your bank account. Who am I to try and, I don't know, navigate through that? But what I will take in is just our experience briefly, and that's it. I'm not going to try and think about whether you're BSing me or not. It's like, okay, cool. But I might want to interact with you, and then kind of things are revealed at that point.
So then, let's say I'm not the greatest articulator or speaker, but I really do own a Ferrari. I really don't know anything about it. I just got it.
Or you're shy.
I'm really shy. I might have a lot of money, but you don't really, like, I somehow acquired this car, and I really kind of want to tell people about it, but, I'm not really convincing at telling.
Then
like, would it still be true that I own a Ferrari at that point?
I would look at it like, no, for me, I'm different. I would think, well, maybe you're shy, or maybe you don't know how to speak to others as fluently as you could. So, okay, if you want to bullshit me, then maybe somebody will bullshit you down the line. But for right now, all right, cool. You got a Ferrari.
So it's really like the importance of the claim is such that it really doesn't matter whether or not I do, and you're not going to take me at my word, but you will take into account the perception of how I said something as far as it being true. That's kind of irrelevant. Is that
again,
kind of
not to be too kind of on the straight and narrow. It's just how I would look at it like, what's the genesis of us even talking about the Ferrari?
Right.
Like, what's the context?
It's not what you say; it's how you say it. It's like how it was packaged. How you handle yourself. If you seem like excuse me, YouTubers, but if you seem like a Newport, beach kind of douchebag, showy guy, that needs that, then okay.
For instance,
but if you said you had a Ferrari, you seem super chill. I would say he's probably a car collector.
I look at it. Here's mine, which is, let's say we're in one of these antique stores and there's a little model car that's a Ferrari, and we looked at it and I said, oh, that's cool, and you said, yeah, I'd like to collect Ferraris. And they're like, yeah, it's a really good, by that it's just a cool piece to have. The engines are rad. You can really take them out and you just cut it out. If you were to say to me, oh yeah, I have a Ferrari, I would kind of say bullshit at that point, because I would expect that there would be a level of humility. And if you didn't, and my perception was off, I would think you were pompous. Like, really? Okay. We're just at a store. You're gonna throw out you have a Ferrari? Like, oh, you like Rolls Royces? Me too. I have one.
Okay. So that specific example was more to see if you required evidence other than the claim, say the bill of sale or
I would require
my registration info or something like that. Would that be enough? Would that be more convincing, less convincing? Would that replace the perception of how I brought it up? Or if I said in the same breath, I said, hey, I own a Ferrari, here's the registration, would that be much more believable?
I would think again, what are you trying to prove? In my mind.
Sure. Right. What's your intention?
I mean, I'll be honest, normally, again, I'm pretty intuitive, and I'm a conversationalist in general. To me, I would be able to tell probably fairly quickly, oh, okay, cool. I've had people that I've run into and suddenly there's a story I was zapped up by aliens, or I saved, my ship when I was in the Navy for World War II, and it's like, okay, cool. Thank you for your service.
But you can own a Ferrari, and live at home and be in your early 30s at your parents' house.
Oh, yeah. That too.
It's $1,500 a month, to lease a Ferrari, and if you have good credit, so that it's I don't know what that really means.
I would try and look at I think what you're getting at is would I look at I'm suspicious immediately, Ferrari example, or okay, I take it for what it is. Right off the bat, I would just take it for what it is. Okay, cool, you have a Ferrari, nice, congratulations.
I would think, why are you telling me this? I didn't just tell you what car I drive. Why are you trying to allude to something? Are you not okay with yourself?
Yeah.
I don't know,
I'm not
people
sure.
are weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
All right, I think we really bled the Ferrari example.
Did we go on? Yeah, I think we're way down the rabbit hole in that topic.
Yeah. So to bring it back around, how would you say that the belief that you have, was it presented to you in such a way that it seemed convincing at the time, and the way it came about, or was it not actually proposed to? Is it something that you discovered purely through personal experience?
Oh, that you unto others as you would have done yourself?
Yeah. Or was it?
My background.
Did you learn it somewhere else, and then maybe that helped you?
No, I would say
you?
I was fairly lucky, whether or not folks are religious or not and have a religious background. I went to Christian school when I was younger to learn. I think my parents more or less put me in there to learn morals and what goodness is, and how to be a genuine person, and also to have diversity to a certain extent. My Christian school was a little different. It was all the colors of the world, every race, every background, just folks kind of together to get that kind of well-rounded view, and things were more or less taught from an ethics kind of perspective of, well, if somebody slaps you, do you want to slap, things along those lines. So I don't know, I just kind of figured it out throughout time, and if I was a jerk to somebody else, normally I got somebody else being a jerk to me back eventually, or within 5 minutes. Right?
My karma ran over your dogma.
That's a good one. I like that. Would you say then that other belief systems are, as long as they come to that conclusion, are also true, or are they not? They're not true whatsoever.
I think
even if they come to that conclusion.
I think other belief systems, again, I would want to understand a little bit more the background. Why? What age were you? Help me understand kind of what your belief system is if it's counter to that. So maybe I can learn more, or maybe that could change my perception potentially. For me as a human, I constantly want to be able to learn and evolve. So I don't really look at my opinion or my beliefs as dogmatic in and of itself. I know you asked the percentage of what you believe to be in the beginning. So I guess that might decrease because I am flexible to a certain extent. But I don't know. I'm not really dogmatic about anything beyond accountability. I expect folks to be accountable for how they behave. And maybe that's my true belief system now that I talk through it, which is be accountable.
And stay hydrated.
Yeah.
But that's not on point, so not on topic. That was a good answer. All right.
Cool.
Is that okay?
Thank you.
Hey,
that
that was great, guys. I appreciate it so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Rachel.
No, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Brian, what's your name?
Gannon. Yeah, please.
Gannon.
Have your